Hi everyone.
Hi Lizzie.
How are you?
Good, good. You want to talk? Tell us a bit, Lizzie.
Yes. On my side, we didn't have so many crossroads, but on another side, I feel like things. I wish things could go back to normal, where we will be able to see each other and so on. Like these Zoom meetings, we don't feel like we are connected to each other the way we used to do things. So for me, it's a little bit of a crossroad because of even working from home. We struggle with network. We struggle with all those things like data, load shedding. So at least when we're at the offices or at school, there's something that keeps you going.
Yeah. Wow. That's true. We don't fully realize the effects that the lockdown has had on people. Thanks for sharing that, Lizzie. Anyone else wants to share a bit about their experience over the last 2 weeks? All right. We have a very quiet group today. That's okay. Breakout rooms, we have a few minutes left, a minute left in the breakout room. And then Belinda Peterson, is she in the room? Yeah, I think she is.
No, we can connect in it.
Welcome, Okhali. You're in the room now.
Hello, Selwyn and everybody else. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, no, thank you very much. No, after a struggle, but I'm connected. Sorry that I missed the initial stages of.
No, not a problem. I'm going to make you co-host so that you can share your screen later on.
Okay, you will maybe show me how to do it.
Not a problem.
That's fine.
It says share screen. At the bottom, you will see a icon, a green icon, and it points upwards, and you click on there, and then you'll be able to share your screen.
Just a moment.
Okay, I see everybody's coming back from the breakout rooms.
All right, Selwyn. Hello, Selwyn.
Hi.
See, my screen has gone small, and I'm unable to get to those buttons.
Okay. So do me a favor, Mokhali, email it to me, and then I will work it from my side.
The presentation.
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right, folks, welcome again. Lovely to have everybody in the room, back in the room. It is encouraging to see so many more people that have arrived in the meanwhile. Belinda, later on, I want you to talk a bit about the conference. All right, I will call on you to talk a bit about the conference. I think I love the topic, and I love the subtopic around the arts, and I think that's a critical topic around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then the arts. All right, so we would love you to talk a bit about it. But before we go any further this afternoon, let's hear from a few people. What was your experience over the last 2 weeks around what's happening in our country, and what are your thoughts around it? All right, so I'm going to ask this person who's sharing their screen not to share their screen. There we go. So let's hear from a few people what they think they've heard and experienced over the last 2 weeks. Anyone? Or should I nominate people? Have our teachers lost their voice? Mary S., you're talking. You muted, Mary. You want to unmute?
I must get used to this unmuting.
Nice,
Okay,
Mary.
I'm seeing that everyone's quiet. I did go in the room and we were sharing. Yes, I was very shocked about everything. I sat in awe for a while. I thought it was what the president had said the night before, and I started to speculate. And I got very happy when I heard that the grant was coming back, because I felt that it was the 350 Rand grant that could have caused it. And because to us it's not a lot, but to many it's everything. And also the Zuma thing, they said it could be that, but it's all speculation. But I think at the end of the day, we do have rampant poverty. We do have issues. We do have youth that do need to work. But besides all that, we have to find a better way of communicating apart from destroying what we have. I think we need to train people to negotiate and communicate rather than act out and destroy the little we have. And it's going to take a long time to come back from it. I'm a KwaZulu-Natal person, born and bred, even though I'm in the Northern Cape. So for me, it was very, very shocking and a little anxiety. I was very anxious because family, I had to keep finding out where are my family, are they okay, is everything okay?
Wow. Thanks, Mary. Thanks for sharing that. You're bold. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? How's your past 2 weeks been?
I wonder, could I come in there, Selva?
Theophilus, go for it,
Yes, sir.
Theophilus.
Yeah, I think one of the in my conversations, one of the things that are really, really deeply concerning is the sense of what I'll describe as ineffectuality, meaning that it must be so disheartening on so many levels for educators, for teachers, for principals, that you've worked so hard over such a long stretch to realign and to sort of reignite a new way of looking at life, a new way of looking at citizenship, a new way of taking care of this fragile democracy. And for all of that to, in a sense, in the last 2 weeks, to be shown as almost ineffectual, that it didn't matter so much, that all the hard work, and this is just apparently, but it's certainly that apparent sort of indication that what you've done, how hard you've worked, has not really filtered down to the larger population. I mean, if I think about it, it was sad to see that there were so many adults involved in some of the sort of atrocious behavior. And that's a reflection, I think, on why there is a sense that, have we done a good job? How do we as adults deal with a sense of feeling that what we have done is not worth it, if that is a sense. So let me leave it at that. Thanks for letting me share.
I appreciate you sharing, Theophilus. Anyone else? I really think this is an important thing, that we just hear from each other. What is happening Perhaps we can hear people from the KwaZulu-Natal area share, or the Gauteng area, or anywhere else in the country. Just what are you hearing, experiencing?
I'm in Sasolburg.
Okay, Isaac,
The
go for
school
it, Isaac.
principal. Yes, I'm in Sasolburg, which is only about 20 kilometers from Gauteng. It is the last town when you get into Gauteng, and the first one that you come across when you get into the Free State. Now, my main worry is it was a horrible time. Simply because at school we have a code of conduct that shows the children how to conduct themselves and so on. As well, we have the South African Schools Act. We have the Education Employments Act. We have our constitution. All those are guidelines that show us how to conduct ourselves. Now, all of a sudden, when you see that displayed on a TV, you'd ask yourself, what kind of example is portrayed to our children? Are we saying to our children that that is how we should behave? That is the best way we can resolve issues other than talking about issues? Are we protecting bad behavior by banning, by looting, by killing people in that way? That was really worrying from my side. And it really is going to take us time to talk sense to our children after seeing what those people have done. And that was really a worrying factor for me. Are we supposed to be, to be guarded by police and soldiers for us to behave? Are we turning ourselves to be to wild animals at some point, or what? So that is a worry that I have as a school principal at school, especially in primary schools, because that's where the children get easily influenced. Thank you.
Isaac, I really appreciate your input. Thank you. Sikhle.
Thank you, Salvin. I'm also from KwaZulu-Natal, but in the northern part, that is Glen connects to Dundee. I'm also feeling the same thing, but my profession, I'm a facilitator from Pearson Marang Education Trust. I'm supporting schools here in Mutu, that is Umzinyathi district. So I also condemn the action. I never saw it coming, but what I think is the worst of them all in my life. I never thought that after the wars that I heard about in many years, I will testify such a very rude behavior from the citizens of this country. For me, it taught me that one may say, apart from class distinction, in terms of poverty. Hello?
Apologies for that. Sikhle, continue.
Okay. I was going to say, apart from the class distinction where we have the rich, the middle class, and the poor, but if you look at the action, it doesn't warrant such looting, such burning of malls, such destruction of the property of the state, as the malls that we use, the shops that we use, business people are suffering. So the new learning that I have learned, as much as education fraternity can talk about the value system, but it came to light to say, no, the value system in this country is compromised. Maybe us in this room, we may say we know all South Africans, but it came to light that we do not know who is who in this country, which means this country can be shattered in one day. That is what we never knew. Even the security system of the country, we never knew that it's so weak in such an extent that a bomb like this will explode and then affect jobs, affect the whole market in terms of productivity and economic growth. Lastly, I'm looking at the parents. I was talking to some parents who say, if you stole a bicycle or stole a TV, what are you telling your children when you watch that big screen? This is the big screen that you looted. This is a bike that I did not buy for you, but I looted this bike. And then what are the values? What generation are we going to produce in the near future? That is what really worried me. Thank you, Selvan.
Sihle, thank you so much for your input. The last person I'm going to allow to speak is Michael Mokoena. Michael, over to you. Okay, I see Michael's hand is up and he's still muted. Michael, you are still muted.
Hello?
Go for it, Michael.
Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in Pretoria in Soshanguve. I'm a school deputy principal. I'm a researcher, actually, an academic by right. But, you know, this whole thing that happened in the last few days, and which is still on by now, because we are now dealing with the aftermath of the whole thing. For me, it exposed a number of things. One of them is race relations that will need now a very strong leadership, which must start at a lower level. Because I'm saying race relations because if you look at what is happening now at Phoenix, I've got a brother who lives there. I went there for a weekend just to check on him. But when you drive in those areas, you can have this feeling that if you are black and you are driving around Phoenix, around the Indian community, it's not a comfortable thing. It's tense. Now, you ask yourself a question whether how. Hello?
Continue.
Yes.
Sorry, can I ask you to stop for a moment? Folks, as you come into the room, can I just encourage you to mute your where you are so that we can allow our speakers to have full opportunity to speak. Continue, Michael. Thank you.
Okay, I was talking about the race relations, which seemed to be now an issue in and around that area of Phoenix, where you have got two groups, one from an African origin and the other from an Indian origin. Now they don't trust each other. And which is something new, that it was never something which was known in that area. But this thing has raised a question of race relations, and it exposed that we really not a unified country in terms of race. There is a very thin line which can be broken at any given time. And in a situation like this, for me, I was saying in a session that you need the presence of leadership, strong leadership politically. You need that. And also you need a strong leadership in terms of your law enforcement. Because what happened in KZN, for example, what we saw in one warehouse where people were looting for hours, but there was not even a single police vehicle there. And one could have just asked a question, was this done intentionally? Because now, was there some communication which went towards the police to say, you don't do anything until we tell you to do something, because the police were just missing in action. So that is one thing that was exposed there. Race relations, the weakness in our police, very weak. On whether it was done intentionally or otherwise, I don't know. But it could be seen that the police were missing in action, and we have to wait for the army to come in, which is not the best way of dealing with those kind of conflicts. Because for me, watching the army marching people in Alexandra Township is something. Now we turn around and we'll start talking about human rights, brutality, and all those kind of things, because now we have invited people who are not even trained in dealing with civilians to come
Michael,
into this
thank
group they
you.
don't belong to.
I'm going to ask you to stop, but
Okay, thank you.
I realize that I've opened up something very important, and we will have an opportunity to reflect again at the end.
Okay,
But thank you so much for everyone's input.